Dr. Eris Thorne was a confident sleep scientist who had built a small, isolated research facility deep in a jungle. He had invited his wife, Maya, and their 5-year-old son, Leo, to stay with him while he and his coldly ambitious partner, Dr. Elena Vance, completed their final tests on Project Lullaby. This project was a machine that used a special sound wave, a soothing lullaby, to force the brain into a deep, controllable sleep where dreams could be manipulated. Maya felt uneasy the moment she arrived. The facility was too quiet, and she didn't trust Elena's professional smile. The first night, Elena gave a demonstration on Eris himself. The lullaby played, and Eris fell into a deep sleep instantly. When he woke up, he couldn't remember his dream. The next day, strange things began to happen. Leo lost his favorite toy and later told his mother that the uncle from the machine had told him to turn off his nightlight. Maya was terrified. When she confronted Elena, Elena dismissed it as a child's imagination. That night, Eris ran the experiment on himself again, but this time, he didn't just sleep. His eyes opened, and he walked like a zombie straight to Leo's room, stared at his son, and then collapsed. He remembered nothing the next morning. Maya demanded they stop the experiments, but their secret funder, a voice they only heard on the intercom called the benefactor, insisted they needed a final test with a child subject to complete the project. Driven by scientific obsession, Elena went behind Maya's back while she was asleep and convinced Eris to let her use Leo. They put Leo in the machine and played the lullaby. The monitors showed his brain activity spike to impossible levels. Then, through the speakers, they heard Leo's voice, but it wasn't his. It was a deep, ancient, and horrifying voice that said, "You summoned us. We are here." The facility's lights began to flicker and the machines went haywire. A black, smoky form began to materialize in the air above Leo. It formed a twisted, burned face and attacked Elena, killing her instantly by forcing her into a shock. Eris stood frozen in terror, but Maya ran in, having heard the chaos. The entity had taken control of Leo's body. Leo stood up, but looked at his mother with pure hatred and spoke with the entity's voice. Maya, desperate to save her son, screamed at Eris to destroy the machine. As the entity, through Leo, tried to stop her, Maya lunged at the main control panel, suffering a shock but managing to rip out all the switches. The machine died. Leo collapsed to the floor, unconscious but alive. The entity was gone. The three of them, Eris, Maya, and the unconscious Leo, fled the facility and drove out of the jungle onto a highway. Maya held Leo, stroking his hair, crying with relief. They had escaped. Suddenly, the car's GPS screen flickered on by itself. A message appeared, Project Lullaby, Phase 2 complete. Subject acquired. Then, the car's stereo turned on by itself. From the speakers came the soft, familiar sound of the lullaby. But this time, underneath the sweet melody, a low, guttural voice was humming along. It was the same voice from the lab. Eris looked in the rearview mirror in horror. Leo had opened his eyes. He was looking directly at his father, and on his face was not the smile of a little boy, but a twisted, ancient, and victorious grin. The Ashworth Sanatorium had been abandoned for 40 years when urban explorer and streamer Jake convinced his 3 friends to spend a night inside. Jake wanted content for his channel. His girlfriend Chloe came because she refused to let him go alone. Marcus came for the thrill, and his younger sister Sam came because she was documenting abandoned buildings for her photography portfolio. They entered at sunset, flashlights cutting through the dusty darkness of the old tuberculosis hospital. The sanatorium was famous for one thing. In the 1980s, a patient named Elias Crane had escaped from his room and killed 3 nurses before vanishing into the woods. They never found his body. Room 4, where he had been kept, was still sealed. The hospital staff had bricked it shut before the place closed down. Everyone who worked there said Elias was not insane when he arrived. He became insane inside that room. Jake found the bricked-up doorway on the 2nd floor within an hour. The bricks were old and crumbling, and Marcus, being the strongest, managed to kick a hole through them. Behind the wall was not an empty room. There was a full-length mirror standing against the far wall, perfectly clean, as if someone had wiped it yesterday. The room was otherwise empty. No dust on the floor. No cobwebs. Nothing. Sam took photos while Jake filmed himself standing in front of the mirror, making jokes about seeing ghosts. That night, they set up camp in the old lobby downstairs. Sleeping bags, camping stoves, flashlights hanging from hooks. Chloe woke up at 3 a.m. to use the bathroom. She did not want to go alone, but everyone was asleep. She took a flashlight and walked down the dark hallway. She passed the staircase. She looked up. At the top of the stairs, a man was standing. He was wearing old hospital clothes. He was staring at her. She ran back to the lobby screaming, but when the others woke up and went to check, no one was there. Jake laughed it off. Classic sleep deprivation. But Marcus was quiet. He kept looking at his phone. Sam asked what was wrong. Marcus said he had taken a selfie earlier in front of the mirror in room 4, just for fun. He showed them the photo. In the background, behind him, the mirror showed a reflection of a man standing in the room. But the room had been empty. The man was not there when Marcus took the photo. They all looked at the screen. The man in the reflection was thin, bald, and staring directly at the camera. They decided to leave immediately. It was 4 a.m. They packed their things fast. Jake led the way to the front door. The door would not open. It was not locked. It simply would not budge, as if something was holding it shut from the outside. They tried windows. Same thing. They were trapped. Sam started crying. Chloe held her. Marcus suggested they wait until sunrise and try again. Jake agreed, but he was scared now. His phone had no signal. None of their phones had signal. At 5 a.m., they heard footsteps upstairs. Slow, dragging footsteps. Coming from the direction of room 4. Then they heard a voice. A man's voice, singing an old lullaby. The same song Chloe's grandmother used to sing to her. Chloe turned white. She said that song was not famous. It was a family song. No one else should know it. The footsteps started coming down the stairs. They watched the staircase, frozen. No one came down. But the footsteps stopped halfway. Then they heard the voice whisper, very close, "You brought me out." Jake grabbed a metal pipe from the floor. He was terrified, but he was the leader. He walked toward the staircase. Chloe begged him not to go. He went anyway. He climbed the stairs slowly, pipe raised. He reached the top. The hallway was empty. He walked toward room 4. The hole in the bricks was still there. He looked inside. The mirror was still there. But now, reflected in the mirror, he saw himself standing in the hallway. Behind his own reflection, a man was standing. The man was right behind him in real life. Jake turned around. No one was there. He looked back at the mirror. The man in the reflection was walking toward him. Jake ran. He ran down the stairs screaming. He told the others what he saw. Marcus said they needed to break the mirror. Destroy it. That was the only way. Sam said no. Her grandmother once told her that breaking a mirror that held something was the worst thing you could do. It would release whatever was inside completely. Chloe asked what they should do then. No one had an answer. At 6 a.m., the sun came up. The front door still would not open. The windows still would not open. The footsteps started again, but this time they were everywhere. Upstairs, downstairs, behind walls, inside the ceiling. The whispering started too. Multiple voices now. All saying the same thing. You brought us out. You brought us out. You brought us out. Sam realized what was happening. The mirror was not just holding Elias Crane. It was holding everyone who had died in that hospital. Decades of patience. Decades of suffering. The mirror was a trap. And they had broken the trap open. Marcus lost his mind first. He started screaming at the voices, running around the lobby swinging a flashlight. He hit himself in the face by accident and fell down, bleeding. When he stood up, his eyes were different. Empty. He looked at Jake and smiled. Not Marcus's smile. Someone else's smile. He spoke in a voice that was not his. He said, "Thank you for letting us out. We have been waiting so long." Then he walked upstairs and disappeared into room 4. Chloe grabbed Jake's arm. She said they had to go now, no matter what. They ran to the front door and threw themselves against it. It opened. They fell outside into the sunlight. Sam was behind them. They ran through the overgrown parking lot toward their car. Sam screamed. They turned around. Sam was on the ground. Something was pulling her back toward the building by her ankles. But nothing was there. She was being dragged across the dirt by invisible hands. Jake ran to grab her. He caught her hand. He pulled. Something pulled harder. Sam looked at him with tears streaming down her face and said, "Let me go or it will take you too." Jake did not let go. Sam screamed again and then she was gone. Pulled back through the front door so fast Jake's hand slipped. Jake and Chloe made it to the car. The car started. They drove. They did not look back. They drove for 2 hours straight before either of them spoke. Chloe asked if they should call the police. Jake said what would they say. They drove to Jake's apartment. They sat on his couch in silence. Hours passed. Then Jake's phone buzzed. A text message. From Marcus's phone. It was a photo. The photo showed the mirror in room 4. Reflected in the mirror were Marcus and Sam, standing together, staring out with empty eyes. Behind them, dozens of other faces pressed against the glass from the inside. The text below the photo read, "Room for 2 more. Come back soon." Jake threw his phone across the room. Chloe picked hers up to call the police. Her phone screen was already lit up. She had received the same photo. From her own number. Below the photo was another message. "We are already with you." Chloe looked up at Jake. Behind him, the bathroom door was open. She had not opened it. And from inside the bathroom, a man's voice began humming an old lullaby. The one her grandmother used to sing.